Lim Tai Wei is adjunct senior fellow at the National University of Singapore, and he joins us on Asia First this morning. Hi, Tai Wei. Let me start by asking you, when the Shangri-La Dialogue begins in 4 days, the wars in Ukraine and Gaza, tensions in the Taiwan Strait, and also the Korean Peninsula will all likely still be there. So what role does and can an annual dialogue play in resolving these conflicts?
Well, security dialogues are always known to be under the rubric of no detriments initiatives. So no detriments initiative means that there is hardly any detriment in talking and dialoguing, because it is impossible for countries to be able to establish contact and personal communications and also personal diplomacy with each other if they don't meet. This was sort of visible during the pandemic when video sharing and also video dialoguing was had its own limitations. So this dialogue is particularly important as it gathers high-level officials. Some would say that the Shangri-La Dialogue started as a 1.5 track. Others would say that it has evolved closer to a track 1 diplomatic organization or institution. Therefore, the hot button issues that you mentioned will certainly be on the table. And some of these discussions may not also be open to the public. For example, last year, you have seen what has been termed by the international media as a spy conclave, gathering of intelligence officials in a closed-door session within the last Shangri-La Dialogue in 2023. The handshakes between countries that appears to be in tensions with each other will also be very important, because for some political culture, for example, Northeast Asian culture, high context culture, symbolic plays are very important. And handshakes can lower the temperature and create that right atmosphere for other talks at a lower level, at the operational level, to take place.
Okay, so China has criticized the Shangri-La Dialogue as being too Western-centric. They argue it's kind of become an arena where Beijing has increasingly become a target. Has the purpose of the forum evolved over the years, and how valid are Beijing's concerns?
As we are increasingly seeing a multipolar world, Shangri-La Dialogue will play a very important part in gathering many important defense officials, intelligence, as well as foreign diplomatic officials to discuss very important hot button issues. China also has its own Xiangshan Forum, which is also important in presenting their own perspectives on the same issues or more. Just like the Xiangshan or the Shangri-La Dialogue, other partners, other powers like India would also have their own dialogue sessions. Therefore, all these sessions have the possibility cumulatively of contributing to a greater understanding of world issues, global issues at the moment. Just as important, corridor diplomacy and closed-door diplomacy will offer the opportunities for great powers to talk to each other. For example, this year, the Secretary of Defense, Austin, is expected to have a dialogue with his Chinese counterpart, Defense Minister Dong. So I think this will offer them an opportunity to be able to have a face-to-face diplomacy, given that the last Secretary of Defense that visited Beijing personally was in 2018 by General Jim Mattis. So all these are very important sort of contact points and exposures for personal diplomacy to take place, especially since we have a new defense minister in the great power of China meeting the other superpower, the US. So all these dialogues offer the opportunities to do so.
Tai Wei, I wanted to pick up on that point you just mentioned about, Lloyd Austin meeting Dong Jun. Are expectations of a breakthrough, high or even there? Or is this really just about improved military-to-military communication that was lacking, not that long ago?
Well, we have already seen improvements in the communications between two countries. they have restored regular communications between them. And since the San Francisco summit for the APEC last year, overall relations have improved. So this is a good time for them to meet. Certainly, a breakthrough will be very difficult in a public dialogue like this, even for closed-door sessions, but it will create the right atmosphere for people at the operational level and the field level to be able to carry out the breakthroughs in the actual operational day-to-day operations of the relationships between the two most important militaries in the world. Again, this is the first time that we will probably see a handshake between Secretary Austin and his counterpart, Minister Dong. So this will be seen as a very important symbolic gesture, particularly in high context culture in East Asia. In addition, this is an election year in the US. It will also carry symbolic significance for the ongoing political contestation that's going on in the US domestically right now.
Tai Wei, are you concerned that any issues may not be getting the time they deserve, perhaps? You know, there's Ukraine, the Middle East, Taiwan, of course. There's a lot to discuss. Does Myanmar, for instance, have to fight for space in a forum like this?
Well, there will be a multitude of, talks going on the sidelines, in the corridors, behind closed doors. So we'll never know what is the full extent of the topics that will be covered in the dialogue. Certainly, the hot button issues that have the most exposure, international media, and also most worry the policymakers will certainly get prioritization over others. So this is quite likely to there will quite likely be a kind of a priority order in which the issues are to be tackled. And also it depends on the players involved within the dialogue, because different players will have different national agendas and interests to bring to the table. So it really depends on each country's prioritization of the issues to be brought to the table. But for the great powers, certainly the issues that they will discuss is no longer that much of a secret. They will probably prioritize the most urgent issues at the moment, those that have potential to cause conflicts or red lines to be crossed. They will probably tackle those first.
Tai Wei, thank you very much. That's Lim Tai Wei, Adjunct Senior Fellow at the National University of Singapore.